Okay, let's talk about Raketta. So Raketta is a fantastic vehicle in the sense that um, he's great for when you first start in the game and stuff like that. So Raketta's T-62 is the one I'm specifically talking about. The Object 287 is also another great vehicle that I may do a video on later. We'll have to see. But overall, it's a very good vehicle to kind of get your hands on and start the game with. So let's talk about the kit and the agent. When it comes to Raketta, he has a few things going for him. Most specifically, the ultimate, which is present on both the Object 287 and the T-62A, which is Rampage. All right, so the basics of Rampage is you press the button, you get 15 seconds of not dying, you shoot faster, and you move a little bit faster. It's a pretty good ultimate, all things considered. And when it comes to the passive itself too, or the trait as it's called here, that's the scavenge ability. So when you kill an enemy, and it has to specifically be you that kills the enemy, you get a token of scrap that you can pick up off the body. That scrap gives you about 400 or 500 shield HP. The shield HP works as normal HP and it can actually go over your HP limit, so it's a good thing to pick up even if you're on full HP. For the T-62AV specifically, there's two abilities we can talk about. The Pyro Trail. This is a kind of trail that leaves behind fire, like kind of in the name itself, but it essentially does force you to go forward. You can't do anything other than, well, you can turn and stuff like that, but you do have to go forwards. You can't stop the vehicle itself once you press this ability until you turn the ability off. It's a decent ability. It's not the greatest in the world. It doesn't leave any fire in front of you, so if you ram something, it's not super effective. The rocket barrage, honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest, it sucks. Like, yeah, it just doesn't do that much damage. It doesn't have that many rockets. It's okay for killing off low health enemies or for tracking, but overall, it's not a very strong ability. So it is a little bit of a waste of energy, especially since it does cost 36 energy. I think the Pyro Trail is a little bit better overall. The hidden mechanic with the Pyro Trail is because it does force you to go forwards. If you do get tracked, you can actually use Pyro Trail as another repair kit. So when it comes to agent skills, these are the skills that I currently use. So in my first slot, I use the fragility. This is actually a pretty good synergy with rockets. It is unfortunate that it doesn't apply fragility on your pyro trail. I do think that's something that is a little bit overlooked. However, regardless, it does make the rockets a little bit more valuable than they would normally be. For my second one, I consider using Unstoppable just for the slow resistance when you use Boost. This helps you get out of ultimates such as Twister Ultimate, which slows you down heavily. It can also help you get past grease traps from ALTV quite easily. The whole traverse and turret and traverse speed, it's alright. I just wouldn't recommend early on in the game wasting a whole skill point for this. It's not really necessary. Uh, for my last place slot, I use the Rampage Overstay. I mean, not Rampage Overstay. Rampage Overstay itself is bad. It doesn't work just in general. So the base ultimate is 15 seconds. You have Rampage Overstay. It's also 15 seconds. Don't waste a skill point like I did. Just get Supercharger. Honestly, better overall. If Rampage Overstay did actually give you the proper 5 extra seconds up to 30 seconds, it would be the best option. But honestly, Supercharger is the best option because Rampage just doesn't work. When it comes to modules, modules are goddamn expensive. Don't waste your tech on any of these modules, to be fair. Don't bait yourself into getting any of the early modules. You're kind of going to want to get the modules that you specifically want. So I have a list of modules that I already have grinded through. These are the ones that I do recommend you save up for. I'll go over all of them in general. So for the first slot, honestly, the rockets aren't great, like I said. It's easier just to kind of skip over them. Don't even worry about wasting tech until you have a bunch built up. So you don't have to worry about this ability. You could use the fire status, but with the pyro legendary mod, this doesn't really matter. Maybe you could spend 160 and get a little bit extra damage, but to be fair, it's not much extra damage. Maybe 40 to 50 extra damage more when you take the numbers into account. For the pyro mod, don't spend any of your tech on any of these lower ones. It's just not worth it, especially with how hard it is to get tech. The two options that I do recommend you save up for is either the TDA166 or the Zabillo legendary mod. I personally use the Zabillo. I prefer it. And the TDA166 is very similar. It just doesn't have as wide of an area as the Zabillo. Zabillo also has a nifty little feature of having 2 pyro trails. The only thing that I will mention with this is you will notice that you start to run out of energy a lot faster just because you have the ability to use pyro trails way more often. For this, this is kind of the best in slot. Don't waste 160 when you could just save 160 more to get this. This one is fine, but honestly, there's so little boost energy to begin with. 5% is such a null and void thing to get. This one, you can actually unlock it pretty early, and I do recommend that you pick this up extremely as fast as you can. The extra 10% frontal armor does make a big deal. It definitely helps break any threshold of people being able to randomly penetrate your front, and it makes them have to actually aim for the lower left part to hit your fuel tank instead of just shooting through your upper plate. Otherwise, the track's HP doesn't really matter. I mean, there is an argument to be made, because you will notice in this vehicle that you do get tracked a lot, but a lot of vehicles get tracked a lot too, to be honest. The fire resistance, it's whatever. You're just going to cleanse most fires anyways, to be completely honest. And then when it comes to the firepower mod, the two options that I usually recommend is the 2A20M. The 2A20 SP is alright, but it's usually between the CBV 5M and a 2A20M. I like this just because it increases the crit modifiers, and again, the 4% isn't that really effective at doing anything. The 6% is a little bit more noticeable just because it's such a large number and you're working with large numbers. You're going to notice it a little bit more. But when it comes to the CBV, I like the CBV in the sense that it's heat, and heat in this game generally has a longer cone for hitting easier crits on certain vehicles. But overall, I don't personally say that it's bad. I think it's a preference if you want to use heat. When it comes to the legendary slot, you could save up for it. You would sacrifice the pyro legendary slot. The problem I have with this, right, is it makes your gun handling worse when you're moving and stuff, and your traverse worse. It does give you an extra shell, which is nice, but most of the time you're not even going to notice this because you rarely run out of a full clip in general. And don't be baited by this shell loading time between shots. So this 2.7 seconds is nice, don't get me wrong. Well, that's kind of like all the perks that this legendary slot has. Yes, it does have battle tempo, but the thing with battle tempo is it's the actual magazine and not how long it takes to load your next shell. So what I kind of mean by this, and I'll show you real quick in the firing range. Okay, so the magazine itself is that loading, that orange bar that is loading shells into the magazine. To be fair, you generally, like, if you're in extended fights, you're going to notice it a little bit more. But overall, I don't think it's worth using the legendary slot in order to get that a little bit better. You know what I mean? it's just kind of not worth it in my opinion, especially for legendary. I do think the rare is just better. When it comes to the last lot, like there's no real options other than the GC2221. I personally don't notice the reticle size when I'm stationary. You can personally, this is up to you if you want to waste 160 tech on it. I don't find an issue, but you might. Other notable ones. This does pretty much what the legendary does, but as a permanent fixture. This can get a 50%, which does mean instead of a 6-second load time, it's 3 seconds, but honestly, I don't really care too much for it. Don't waste your tech on any of these lower ones. Another tidbit that I did find out earlier today is you can actually, if you don't have enough tech, but let's say you have a bunch of credits, you can actually use credits in order to get more tech. Let's go ahead and get into some live games. First game, I'm going to go ahead and remove every single one of my modules, just to kind of give you a baseline experience of the vehicle. Alright, so looks like we got Nordoco. It's a mostly full lobby. It looks like someone may have not been able to load in. I'm going to go ahead and kind of move over to A. It's usually kind of how I start out this map. It's either side I open up on A. The reason why I do is I feel like C, you don't really fight anyone just because it's so close to the side of the map. B is honestly just a clusterfuck to go to at the very start. You either going to have the whole enemy team or your whole team's going to go there, or both, essentially. But A can generally be a more personal, like 1v1 or 1v2 fight, and that can make it a little bit easier to score like higher points in the game. Doesn't look like anyone actually came over to A. Yeah, okay, so their whole team is over at, looks like they went to C. It's a little bit weird, so you'll notice once you respawn and everything, there's a spawn here on this side of the map when you die, and there's a spawn all the way over here, and you'll notice that the distance is very different. It looks like I wasn't paying any attention. So I did get to set him on fire. I'm just gonna go ahead and heal up. When it comes to the healing, I would say you could choose any option, to be honest. You could just leave it on the automatic, and that works. That I would say generally for a newer player, it's better to leave it on the automatic just because it's going to be more reliable for you, and you don't have to worry about when to time your heals because it won't go on a cooldown. But I just prefer the exponential one just because I know when I generally should use it. Another thing that I will say that you must do is you must turn off the automatic, like, the automatic circuit. So the automatic circuit kind of just sucks. It will kind of cleanse at really inopportune times, and more often than not, it'll lead you to dying because you can't cleanse a fire because it cleansed it while you were still sitting in the fire or something like that. Okay, so they are taking A now, which means I can go back and get points from that once we clear C. There's a guy in the corner. So his ammo rack is right there on the lower level. I don't think we can... Oh. I tried to hit his ammo rack again. Alright. My heal is back up, so I'm going to go ahead and sit in this corner and heal. I do have my ultimate. I might be able to showcase it when I get back over to A. Now, mind you, this is me playing this vehicle completely stock. But even then, the vehicle itself is actually really well built out. It has good mobility to begin with. You will notice that you just don't have much turbo. It is what it is. It's not the worst thing. You can kind of supplement it with your pyro if you really need to. liking this ability. See, if I hit my pyro, I actually go a little bit faster than just driving, so I go to 64 instead of 59. I haven't really fought anyone because they haven't been fighting too hard over the points that I've gone for. I kind of am just kind of trying to showcase the ability to get around the map quite easily in this vehicle. I'm gonna go ahead and capture that up. We're gonna go ahead and move over to B now. Actually, no, there's someone on A, which means we can go ahead and we're gonna let him cap, and I'm gonna go the long way around so I can kind of get the jump on him. Looks like they used the U of A. It's in a bad spot, so I can't hit it. So they'll know that I'm coming, but that's fine. I have my ultimate, so I'm not really too scared here. I'm gonna aim underneath the tires just to kind of make sure that I don't get scuffed up by the ERA. Now, this guy's not really paying attention to me, so I'm just gonna... I do recommend ramming any of the Hound vehicles because you will do a lot of damage. And if you pyro before you ram, you actually increase your movement speed by quite a lot. I'm going to use that because he might be able to kill me. Can I get back in time? That's annoying. I didn't mean to miss out on the cap XP. I have enough time. So, you get a lot of points for capping, but you also get a lot of points for neutralizing a base. And I shouldn't have pushed completely off the base since I wasn't going fast enough to ram him properly anyways. Let's see. I don't think I will get to base B to... Oh, no, I can actually get there in time to neutralize it. It looks like we don't have anyone on the point. And it's just an enemy, but it did look like it was fully capped by them. I missed his Amarak. Okay. Okay, so you go right next to their vehicle to kind of set them on fire when you have the base pyro. The base pyro is definitely a little bit harder to hit. However, I do still think it's a fantastic ability. Can we get the kill on this guy? Yes. Nope. Looks like he ulted. He's dead though. Once this neutralizes, I should get enough for my ult, so I should be safe from this XM. He's not paying attention to me anyways. Alright, so we're gonna cap this and then pivot over to C. Looks like there's a Leo. Is this a... No, that's the real Leo. Gonna wait for that. There are a lot of people here. So, there's an example of me using that to repair my tracks. I'm gonna ult here. And I'm going to kill that guy. So, my ult's gonna run out before they fight me, to be honest. So I'm gonna hide and heal back up all the way to full. I don't want to get hit at all until I'm fully healed, just because I'll lose my ability to heal up, essentially. So that's a friendly ultimate coming in. I'm gonna finish this guy off. Okay, so I am currently on the EU server, which does make me a little bit more laggy. Do I have enough time to pick up this? I'm gonna pick up this scrap. Just to make me a little more survivable, in case they survive. Okay, no, we're good. There was no need for me to actually pick up the scrap there. I should have just hopped on cap for the extra 50 points, but it's fine. Overall, we're not doing too bad in general. And this is kind of how you want to play early on, especially with Raketta, just because you don't have a lot of the nuances and survivability that you get, even just from having that one mod with the increased armor. It adds, unironically, a bunch of survivability to this vehicle. And without that, I'm definitely playing a little bit more passive, in the sense that I'm not going for as big of a flank as... Or I'm not being as aggressive as I could be, you know what I mean? You can always... Okay, so there's a lot of people here, but since this game is so close to bottoming out, I might as well just try... Okay, this guy ulted. He's going to die to my fire. Yep, there he goes. Overall, not a bad game. Pretty good. I obviously didn't do the most damage, especially since I don't have any modifications on. And I really wasn't going too heavily on damage itself. I just kind of want to get points. So we're going to go ahead and throw on the build that I use now. And we're going to go ahead and throw ourselves into it. Leave it. And like I said, I used the manual repair kit. The automatic recovery system, it's perfectly fine. And the repair kit itself makes you a little bit more tanky. It's a good option too. When it comes to this equipment, make sure that you don't have this failsafe circuit. This failsafe will get you killed more than you could even think. Recovery protocol, it's what I prefer. Terps, it's alright. It's conditional. It's not really that good, in my opinion. Exhaust veil, this is the smoke. It's pretty good for certain vehicles. I don't think it's that great on the T-62 though. But if that's what you prefer, that's perfectly fine to run. Unfortunately, it's not going to be one-to-one just because it's a 5v5, but it does look like this is an all-players game too, so it's going to give you kind of a realistic experience as well. It does look like we have a person who isn't fully loaded in yet, so hopefully that doesn't come too much into effect. Alright, so when it comes to these like game modes, there is a specific way that I do kind of like to play, and what I'm going to try and do, especially now that I'm upgraded, is I'm actually going to try and prevent people from getting close to our team just by throwing the fire across. And this makes it really difficult for the enemy to push because they don't want to, well, they don't want to drive into the napalm, right? And it's also its own version of a smoke screen because it does prevent people from being able to see. I don't think he's going to notice me. I'm actually going to ignore him just because he's so tanky. I'm going to drop on this, and then I'm going to napalm these guys up. He'll disappear. If I lit him on fire, I'm going to go ahead and pick that fire off of me. I'm going to quickly neutralize this up. I want to stay out of that jamming field. I want to stay away from... Okay, so I do have my ultimate. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kind of... I'm going to die. That's what I'm going to do. It does look like our other T-62 was able to come back. So I'm going to kind of try and... Alright, so he's using his minigun, what I would consider too early. Just in the sense that I can press my ult now. We'll go for this guy while I have my ult up. We'll sit in this corner and full heal since my ult is gone. This guy isn't paying attention, so I'll just take the kill on him. Alright, so I'm full HP again. We're going to aim for the fuel tank. I missed the fuel tank. We're just going to go for the engine, and then... Alright, we're going to wait for this barrage to disappear, and then we're going to go. And we'll... kind of set everyone on fire. We do have our ultimate again. We're going to have to use that, unfortunately. We're going to get out of here. So my ult will last less time than his ult. Just because... Oh, no. So I was getting hit. Another thing to mention with the Raketta ult. The more you get hit, the shorter the cooldown is. It's why you don't want to use it when, you know, like a chopper is using the minigun on you. Alright, so it does look like we are going to lose that point for good. I'm not going to worry too much about the point. I'm actually going to go to the secondary point, and I'm going to make sure that no one else from their team kind of gets it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pre-flame up this area. Make it really hard for them to get in. I'm going to drop flames on this guy chasing me. Okay, so he's almost out of ammo. Alright, he's out. So he's gonna die for the burn, but I'm just gonna finish him off, to be honest. It looks like their team is gonna start rotating over. I'm gonna wait until they get a little closer, and then I'm gonna drop the flames on them. This guy Coming up. Right, and then we're just gonna get out of here. So I dropped the flame there just to make sure that he can't chase me, to be honest. He's looking in my direction. Not really gonna want to peek him until he's looking away. That guy's not looking at me, but yeah, I can't tell where he is in the smoke. Can I get on this before they cap? No. Alright, so I did lose out a bit on points in that regard. I do believe I'm dead as hell here. Okay, he bounced. He bounced again. I live. I hit that guy. I ult. I kill this guy. I survive. I go ahead and kill this guy too. Oh, there he is. I will hit his ammo. I don't have enough for... There was another.
Don't like me? I have no problem with that. Water bear.
Overall, maybe not the greatest performance in this game. It's a pretty close game in all retrospect. I do believe that we will lose just on the value that we did have another player disconnect again, it looks like. Yes, it did. I'm just gonna kind of do what I can. I ran out of energy, and that's what you can see in this build, that you will run out of energy more than you feel like you should. Which can get you killed a couple of times like that. But you'll also notice that you'll run out of energy a lot more once you are in a losing situation, just on the sense that you can't get any more captures. What I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna try and capture this. Alright, never mind. I was gonna capture this and then go back to B. But it doesn't even look like it's gonna be an option here. Let's see if we can catch anyone. This Reaper. Gonna drop that across. It looks like it did get him. That's pretty good. I'm actually gonna let them capture. That's a weird. Gonna kind of go up here. An FV behind me. Oh, the martyr. Alright, so I'm not gonna cleanse until I get out of the fire, and then I'll cleanse. This guy should be dead. Oh, I missed. Alright, I don't have a repair kit, so I'll just use my flame. Pretty good that I have my ultimate here. I can extend this fight for another 15 seconds if I need to. I'm just gonna chill right here. I'm not gonna do anything because of this flame that's all across here. That's unfortunate. So I'm gonna come around this corner and die. I might be able to clear this guy off if I didn't dip down. Just cleanse that. Gonna throw him on fire. You see what I mean, though? Like, it is an unfortunate situation that this doesn't apply fragility to them as well. It would be really good for the team if that had fragility on it, just in the sense that they would be able to do more damage to that player as well. I don't know if it's possible to end up in our draw. I do know that if we lose, like if I die on this base one more time and we lose the base, we probably lose the game. It does look like we're set up pretty well on this. I'm actually going to block off this tunnel from anyone else coming in. I don't think it's the best idea that he actually put up his shield instead of shooting me. I'm going to ult in precaution that he's going to shoot. He did not, so it's a little bit of a waste of my ult. I'm going to go ahead and block off this tunnel again while I still have my ult. So we'll go ahead and block that off. And we'll try and heal. That's kind of just what we're going to do, is we're just going to continue to block off this whenever this napalm goes away, because it's going to make them less likely to actually push through that tunnel. Alright, so we're going to go again. I missed the opportunity to get the M60 and this T60. Gonna make sure that I don't actually get myself messed up by that fire. I might actually die here. Yeah. Okay. There is a chance that I get back in time. It looks like nope. Oh. So it does look like that we actually just win based off of the points. Overall, I would say that was a pretty good match. It was definitely closer than I was expecting. But yeah, so that's kind of the playstyle of Raketta in general. You can tell that there's a bit of a difference. You can be a little bit more aggressive, and you can kind of block off more areas and use your pyro kind of more as a kind of like blocking off people's paths and stuff. It's also just because of how large it is much easier to set people on fire with the legendary pyro compared to just a standard pyro. But overall, I do thank you for watching. Have a good one.